Bonjour, bonsoir, bon weekend. Hey, I don't know where you are or what to say, but I would like to welcome you to the Eiffel Tower podcast, coming at you now from Montmartre in the City of Lights. This is a show all about Paris. My name's Oliver G, and I try and meet the people who make the City of Lights shine. Today, no exception. We've got a good guest. More on that in a second. But first, if you're new around here, this is, it's a little independent podcast where I talk about Paris. I try and give you a little bit of the old armchair travel, make you feel like you're sitting in Paris along with me and the guest of the week. The shows come out every Monday, and if you like it, why not tell a friend? But more on that later. Let's talk about what's going on now. I'm back in Paris after a bit of a hiatus in Sweden, and it was I'll be honest, it was kind of shocking to come to Paris after spending time in Sweden where things are very different, without getting into all that. But coming back here and seeing how the city's been affected by the virus and everything and daily life and what things have changed. And I thought, why not just explain exactly what life in Paris is like right now? And who better to help me out than Adrian Leeds, who I'm sure a lot of you guys know from House Hunters International. She's a real estate consultant. She's a property guru, and she's a friend of the show. She's a friend of mine. So I met up with her today in Montmartre. I had lunch with her, and then we went and sat downstairs at a relatively new cafe called Farfelu. Shout out to them, Farfelu. Do you guys know what that word means in French? You can press pause, see if you can figure it out. But as I understand it, it's kind of like oddball or zany. You know those little Mr. Men books? There's one called Mr. or Monsieur Farfelu, and that one is just up on Rue de Trois Frères, Three Brothers Street, up near where Amélie Poulain was filmed. So go there for your coffee needs. I went there to chat with Adrian Leeds, and we just sort of chatted about what's going on in Paris. I asked the age-old question, perhaps it's a good time to buy property in this city right now. I asked her for the inside word. Talked about all kinds of other stuff too, including this new hit show everyone keeps talking about, Emily in Paris. So enjoy this chat. Hang around at the end where I'm going to read out two recent emails I've got. One from someone who found one joke that I made on this show so funny that they decided to subscribe as a Patreon supporter. I'll tell you which joke that was at the end. Also an email from someone who I did a tour with a year ago where we snuck into a secret courtyard that not even I'd been in. So that'll be at the end. But first, Adrian Leeds. Find out more about her on adrianleeds.com. Let's get into it. Adrian Leeds, we meet again.
Fortunately, but it's been such a long time, Ollie.
It has. In fact, close to a year, apparently.
Close to a year. It was the launch of your book.
Yeah, but we go back. We were talking about this before. We go back many years from when I, in your words, accosted you.
You did. You accosted me on the corner of one of my Marais streets. Yes.
I remember that. I saw you. I recognized. Merci. That's my hot chocolate.
It is.
And we are sitting in the lovely Farfelu Cafe in Montmartre.
The Farfelu Cafe in Montmartre. I've never been here. It's my first time.
It strikes me that you're quite new to Montmartre in general.
I wouldn't say new.
Thank you very much.
Merci beaucoup. I certainly would not say new.
Lovely hot chocolate. Thank you. Chocolate short. Merci.
Merci.
But when we were walking around, you were like a tourist.
Well, I don't know Montmartre in the same way you do because it's not my hood.
Sure. But your hood is a pretty cool one.
My hood's a pretty cool one.
What do you call it? Is it the Lower Marais? Upper Marais?
No,
High
it's the high, right, the Haut Marais, the Upper Marais.
Right, okay.
But it's not as as Montmartre.
True. It's all hills. Some people have been known to struggle on these hills as
like
well.
Me? Like following you up this hill to this cafe?
It is a hilly neighborhood, but as I like to say, good views, bad for playing pétanque.
Oh, yeah. No flat areas.
But we're not here to talk about all that. We're here to give people a very sort of real and honest look at what Paris is like right now.
Wow.
Coming from different, you've been in Paris. You've been in Paris you're in Nice, right? A little bit?
No, I was in Paris.
You've been in Paris
through confinement.
Okay.
Through confinement, not the whole time.
Right, okay.
But yes, I was holed up in my apartment for 2 solid months, actually treating it like a retreat.
Right, okay.
A repose.
You were doing like yoga and stuff, right?
I actually loved cocooning and not having FOMO, fear of missing out. I was not missing anything because usually I'm 100% active.
That's interesting. But was it like a positive experience for you, this 2 months of lockdown in Paris? Surely not.
Yes.
Really?
Yes, strangely.
Yeah.
I found time to do things that I hadn't done before. I reflected more.
Yeah.
I learned a lot. I learned some new, interesting exercises. I was getting a lot of exercise, walking every day. The city was stunning during confinement.
I just remember we actually did we meet up? Because I delivered a book to you, but I didn't see you.
That's
no,
right.
That's right. I put it in the mailbox. But how cool was it getting out when it was so empty? That was like the coolest thing.
You felt like the city was your own and no one else's, being completely alone.
Yeah.
I have photographs that I took of the Seine when there was not a single drop of movement, and the reflection of the city on the Seine was the most stunning thing I have ever seen in my life. And my photos look like paintings, but they're not. They're real.
Was this before you got the new camera? Because it could just be one of those.
No. It was with my 11, my 11 iPhone 11. But there were swans and ducks, and the reflection was a mirror image. It was so stunning. It will never be like that again.
Yeah.
And it was just a moment.
I think even for me, the birds, hearing the birds, was it like that in the Marais? Like we can hear a lot of birds.
Not only could you hear them, but you could see them. Yeah. They left more droppings than I've ever seen in my life. I have photographs of the Marais. It was because it was everywhere. I thought, the people are nowhere, the birds are out having a wonderful time.
That's kind of weird though, because surely there should always be the same amount. Were there more birds here or something, or just less people cleaning it?
I don't really know, but it's a good question. I asked myself, where? Maybe they weren't being cleaned. Maybe that there was no rain because it was so beautiful for so many weeks.
I was thinking about that before we get into today. I was thinking about it was kind of for me, I feel like it was a bit of a blessing that that harsh lockdown was during nice weather, because I feel like when it's really miserable weather, if you're stuck inside and it's miserable, it could be worse.
Maybe, because at least you could get out for an hour and walk and see
But anyway, let's talk about now. Let's give people the idea of because I'm sure there's a lot of people listeners to this podcast. I've been in Sweden for a long time. Maybe don't have an idea of what Paris is like right now.
Well, Paris is in some ways very normal because it's been gray and rainy all week long.
Is that normal for Paris?
Of course, that is Paris.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't live in Paris for the weather, right?
Fair enough.
You don't come to Paris for the weather.
It ain't New Orleans, that's what I say.
No, it ain't New Orleans. But anyway.
So if a listener to this show perhaps was dropped into Paris today, walking around, would they know that the world is an unusual place right now? I
don't think they would, with the exception of the masks. I mean, quite honestly, everybody seems to be out. The French, they're wearing masks. They seem to have come accustomed to it. There are a few that are wearing it, under their noses.
I think some people think it's a chin covering as well. Have you seen this? They're wearing on their chin.
They think it's a way of getting around not actually wearing it, so it's not really that cool. But what's really different is that the tourists are not here. So you don't hear that much English. If you hear English, you have to pretty much assume they're people who are living here. They're not just visiting.
Yeah. There's a question. Do you think that expats in Paris behave differently to the tourists? And expats, I mean, people like me and you?
Do they behave? Yes.
Yeah.
I think I do.
Yeah.
I get annoyed by tourists who are speaking too loudly, and I've been known to go say something like, "By the way, have you noticed no one's yelling in here?"
Have you ever done that?
I hate to say how many times.
Really? Do you do it with a little French accent to make it seem like you're a local?
No, I say hi. I'm an American too, and just so you know, this is not cool.
That's weird. But do they ever go hang on, you're Adrian Leeds from House Hunters International?
They don't know who I am.
Okay. Well,
or if I go. Why do they care?
no,
they're just having a good time. But
okay. So the mask bit is different. That much is true. Also, we just had this little walk through Montmartre, and it's fair to say it's quite prominent to see all the restaurant terraces have spilled out onto the street, but not always beautifully.
No, not always. But my neighborhood, they're lovely, I have to admit. They've spilled down into the street. They've added all sorts of greenery and parasols and heaters and you name it, and the cars are gone. So I quite like it, actually.
I feel like that could be a change, a positive change that comes from all this. If more cars disappear, parked cars, I mean, and driving cars,
and more pedestrian streets.
Exactly.
You know, I heard something very interesting from a friend of mine who also lives in New Orleans and Paris. And in the French Quarter, they have decided not to pedestrianize the French Quarter. They have all sorts of crazy reasons why they don't want to do that, but they're really missing the boat because the streets that have become pedestrian in Paris have really blossomed in every way, shape, or form. There's more traffic, the businesses on those streets do better, property values go up. I mean, it's an immediate fix. So we're here on Rue des Abbesses, and, when they pedestrianize that street's going to just be heavenly.
I can't wait for that.
And it'll become the lifeline of all of Montmartre. You just watch it. It's going to just explode. Yeah. And when they pedestrianize the 4 central districts, our arrondissement 1 through 4, it's going to be heaven on earth.
Is that their plan, is to make it all of it?
Yes. But Paris Centre, 1 through 4.
It will still be taxis and stuff you can get in there, or what? Like Rue Montmartre, just for everyone at home, just pedestrianized. Some cars can still go down it, like the deliveries and stuff.
Well, they have delivery up into a certain time, right? They allow, like my street in Nice, which is pedestrian, they allow deliveries up until 11 a.m.
Right.
And that's really when the businesses start to open. It's about 11 a.m.
Okay.
So there are ways to make it work, and I'm sure that they're going to route certain streets around it and through some streets, but so that you can, somehow access things.
That'll be so
right?
cool. The first 4 districts of Paris, for you guys who are not so familiar, that's central. That's the bullseye if Paris was a dartboard. Big bullseye, including that green bit around the red bullseye, right? And when that gets pedestrianized, that will be... That's a
fabulous.
Game changer. Oh my!
Oh yeah, it'll be a game changer.
So now is the time to buy property there, or is it too late?
That's what I think. No. Every street that's gone pedestrian has gone up in value. Yeah. So French Quarter, if you New Orleanians are listening to this,
I bet you there's some.
Hopefully there are. You have to really tell the city officials that they need to pedestrianize the French Quarter.
Is that the big street that goes down the middle with all in New Orleans?
No. The quarter is the central and the original district of the city.
Okay. What is that big street?
Canal Street?
Canal Street. Yeah, okay. I went there once. That was cool. That's a wild city that you come from.
We called it Sin City.
Sin City? Isn't that Vegas?
Maybe, but New Orleans is pretty sinful.
Let's bring it back to Paris for a second.
Yeah.
And keep talking about today. The
what
city
it's like.
As it is today.
Yeah.
The past couple of months that I haven't been here, have you noticed there being sort of a timidity of Parisians coming out, or do you think they went gung-ho into getting back to life as normal?
Oh no, the Parisians have never lived with fear. They are not wallowing in this coronavirus at all. They're going about their business, they're doing what they need to do. I don't see that they fear it at all, not at all. I'm getting a completely different sentiment from the American side.
Is that true?
Yeah, and maybe it's the way, the government has handled it, maybe, but I don't necessarily think that. I think it's really the attitude of the French. After the attacks, the November 13 attacks, they came back out and said, en terrasse, we are going to be en terrasse. We are not going to buy into this fear, period. And I think they're doing the same thing with COVID.
Yeah. If there's one thing that Parisians don't do, wallow. They don't wallow. They're resilient.
They are not staying in. They're going to their cafes. They're meeting with their friends. If they have to wear a mask, they wear a mask. But they're not letting this stop them.
Same with the Charlie Hebdo, the big march that was 2 days after 2015 back then. Remember? Like 1 million, 2 million, whatever it was, people just out there marching.
That's right.
When many people would perhaps be frightened to be out in public in big groups like that.
No, instead they're showing that they're not afraid.
Solidarité.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's a very big difference in attitude.
Gotta love the French for that, huh?
I love the French for a lot of things.
Yeah. You've been here for 26 years,
Yeah,
right?
that's shocking. Yeah. I just had my 26th anniversary this month.
And you celebrate it? Is it like a Paris-versary or something?
Yeah.
Is that, do you actually?
I did. Yeah, a little bit.
So what do you do to mark 26 years?
Reflect, look back. I wrote about it.
In your newsletter?
Yeah.
Newsletters, you got a couple, right? Or
Yeah,
at least a couple.
three a week.
Yeah. How do people find them, by the way?
Oh, AdrianLeeds.com.
AdrianLeeds.com.
AdrianLeeds.com. Yeah, it's pretty easy. Parlez Paris, Parlez Nice when I'm there, and French Property Insider.
Can we talk about French property just a little bit?
Well, sure. I always love to talk about property.
I'm kind of interested in the question of whether it's like a good time to buy in Paris right now.
Well, a lot of people are interested at the moment because we are seeing a huge influx, primarily of Americans who are very disgruntled with what's going on there and who have been thinking about living in France for a long time, and now it seems to be a better idea than ever.
Right.
So we are just completely bombarded. In fact, we have a lot of clients who are buying properties completely sight unseen.
Sight unseen?
Yeah, that means they trust us to find them something fabulous for them, which they can.
So when you say that you're being bombarded, is this like historical levels of bombardment?
Historical levels.
Really?
Yes.
So what does that...
Daily.
And this is an American thing? This isn't people coming from Australia and stuff?
No.
So
it's Americans, and it's
Okay.
always the same, rhetoric out of their mouths. They're just really fed up with a lot of what's going on.
You don't think it's based on their desire to live here after seeing Emily in Paris?
Emily in Paris. Have you been watching?
I haven't watched any of it yet.
So
But I hear you're addicted to it.
No, wait. Let's clarify this, okay? First, I watched it out of curiosity.
Yeah.
And then I got angry at it.
Right.
So I saw a couple of episodes and they really pissed me off because there were just so many bad cliches and some of the terrible things that they say about the French and the way they make the French look. And then I thought, well, I really need to watch it. Maybe that was just an excuse. I don't know. But
That sounds like an addiction to me.
Well, so now I've watched a few more episodes, and it does move you along. It's a page turner, okay?
But some might argue that you wear a beret. You are.
Oh, she steals my red beret. She does, okay? Emily is wearing a red beret, and I'm sorry, okay? Oliver, they're doing their research.
Yeah.
I have seen scenes that I know come from your podcasts.
I'm yet to watch this show.
You have to.
I will.
Okay?
I plan on doing it for research, although I fear that it's not going to be my thing.
No.
But I got a lot of emails from people saying, someone emailed me and they said, were you a consultant on this show? Because there's a lot of parallels.
See? Okay, now here's some of it. First of all, Paris always looks really beautiful. Now, we know that the weather's not always that perfect, okay?
Yeah.
Now, I have seen beautiful weather, but have you been out today,
Yes,
for instance?
Yes.
There's some of the cliches are just absolutely like you just want to go, okay, let's put it on neon cliche. It was not subtle. Like they could have done it in more subtle ways, but they chose not to. So it's very much in your face. But it is pretty. Come on, it's Paris, so it's pretty to watch. They, of course, land all over the city in 10 minutes.
Was it the same guy that made Sex and the City that made this? I think I heard that. But even if it's not...
There's reference to Sex and the City because of the fashion.
Okay, well, let's take Sex and the City as an example, which I don't watch either, but I think that... Was that built for New Yorkers to watch, Sex and the City? Because
single women. It was targeted to single women.
So I bet there's a different reaction to it if you're a New Yorker or if you're just a single woman in Melbourne, Australia. Same with Emily in Paris. I imagine that people like you and me who watch it will have a different reaction to a Francophile living in Minnesota.
Okay, I understand the premise of that, but you can't really compare them because Sex and the City had some really fun dialogue.
Right.
Okay. I haven't found this to be true yet. But there's a lot of good-looking men.
Yep.
That doesn't hurt.
Right.
Beautiful scenery, and it's amusing. Let's call it amusing, coming from someone who's lived here all these years.
Yeah, 26 years. Anyway, I'm out of my depth on this subject because I haven't watched.
No, you have to watch it.
Sex and the City or Emily in Paris.
You have to watch it because I'll make you a bet that there are a lot of references to things that come right out of your podcasts.
Wow. Okay. Now I'll definitely watch it. Back to property for a second. So it's a good time to buy. Does that mean that if this is some kind of a boom, does that mean that in 5 or 3 years' time we'll start hearing a lot more American accents in the city of Paris?
Well, we're definitely going to be hearing a lot more American accents in Paris, all over France, not just Paris.
Okay.
I have a lot of clients buying in Nice right now,
Do you
even
think
more
this
so.
Do you think this is something that's just Paris-based, France-based? Or do you think a lot of people are...
Oh, no, they're going everywhere. Americans are going everywhere.
Where do Americans go besides?
Well, Canada's the first quick fix,
What
right?
about for Europe? I know some listeners to this show are moving
England?
to Portugal.
Portugal is inexpensive. Portugal and Spain. Portugal less expensive than Spain at the moment. And it's been, Lisbon's been hot, and I don't mean hot temperature. I mean.
You mean hot? You mean
I
like you're
mean
talking
like
property
cool.
talk. This is
like,
property talk.
Yeah, property
it's hot.
hot. It's a hot spot.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because you can buy property inexpensively, and increase in value has been skyrocketing, and they're very liberal-minded. They're much more open-minded, less regulated.
Okay. So there'll be American accents in Europe, as there always has been.
Yeah, and it's going to get worse.
All right. Well, back to present day Paris and the topic at hand. Have you noticed any other weird changes? Like a lot of people ask me about La Bise. People. So I just got fist bumped upstairs when I walked in.
Yeah, elbows, fists.
What happened when we met? Did we? It was just a wave, wasn't it?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
No more bees.
So
Not
do you
at
think
the
it's
moment.
gonna die out?
Completely?
Yeah.
No.
What's
I
gonna
think the
happen?
minute that they can, they will.
Looking forward, Adrian, how's the city gonna change? What's going on? Is these restaurants gonna be out on the street forever? Are the cars going forever? Is this these small changes now gonna stick around in the future?
Well, I know that politically speaking, we're going to have Anne Hidalgo in a socialist government for the next 6 years. So she's going to continue to drive things more ecologically friendly. That's what she's all about. So are we going to see that? Yes, I'm sure we will. And, she'll get us through the Olympics. I'm not her fan for a lot of different reasons, and I think she's going a little too fast for my taste. Things are changing too rapidly. But yeah, I think Paris will ultimately be the guiding light for cities around the world, quite honestly. And I wish the US would take notice and become a little ecologically that's difficult to say. Ecologically friendlier.
What about these Olympics 2024?
Yeah.
That's that has the power to make or break a city, really, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. It really depends on how they handle it.
Is that another reason why it could be good to buy property in Paris?
Well, it's certainly in every city where the Olympics was held, the property values did go up until the end of the Olympics, at which time there was usually some sort of an adjustment based on how well the city prepared for it. And so we don't know what that's going to be here, but Paris is a finite city. It isn't going out and it isn't going up. And so consequently, there's only so much property to be had. And as a result of that, that keeps prices going up. Now, that being said, there is a huge movement to expand the borders beyond the 20 districts.
Sure, Greater Paris,
Yeah, Greater Paris, exactly. But will it really make those outer districts as valuable as inside? It'll be a while before it does that.
Yeah.
Okay, so, but the idea is to increase the, amount of housing because they have such a housing shortage. Okay, as long as there's a housing shortage, that's called prices continue to go up. So, is it a good time to buy? It's always a good time to buy.
But you have to say that as a real estate guru, don't you? Do you tell people when it's a bad time to buy?
Of course I do.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm a consultant. Okay, I'm not.
I thought you were a guru.
I'm not a salesperson.
No, fair
I'm
enough.
not selling property.
Yeah.
I'm helping people make really good, intelligent investment decisions.
It feels like buying outside of Paris could be a smart move then, if it does grow as they're planning to, because then suddenly you'll be inside Paris.
That is true. That is true. But it changes your. It's all about also where you want to live. There's no question. The more central you are, the more value you have. It just radiates out.
Okay, well that's given
But
me...
yes, you have more appreciation. In the outer districts, you're going to get a better appreciation than you will on the inner districts, but the inner districts are going to just generally hold their value better. Does that make any sense?
It makes plenty of sense.
Okay.
It gives me something to strive towards.
You love the 18th. You love Montmartre.
I love the 18th.
If you buy an apartment, you need to buy in the 18th, and property here is not expensive.
Is that so? Okay, well you've given me
That's
something to
so.
do. I'm going to go and look at the real estate windows.
Don't do that without me.
Of course, that's what we're going to do together. On that note, Adrian, our time has run out.
Oh,
So is
what a
my hot
shame.
chocolate, but it's always
We
lovely.
can get you more hot chocolate.
Well, we can continue the conversation, but it's been lovely chatting with you as always.
It has. With you too. You always ask the most intelligent questions. I love your podcasts.
Oh,
You're the best.
Thank you, Adrian. Thank you very much.
And thank you, Ali, for inviting me.
There you have it. So it was Adrian Leeds once more, adrianleeds.com for all your property needs in the City of Lights. And yeah, there you go. Paris, a little bit different, but it feels like it's getting back to normal, and that is nice. Now, as I promised before, a couple of emails from people. I'll start with the one I mentioned about the one of the newest Patreon members. If you're new around here, if you like this show and you want to see it thrive, want to see it succeed and continue, sign up on patreon.com/the Earful Tower, where a small monthly donation, or indeed you can pay for the whole year, will open up a world of extra content. And that is exactly what's just happened with CJ Rate, who writes in, "Hi Oliver, after months of catching up on all of your podcasts," that's impressive by the way, there's about 250 of them, "I thought I'd better encourage you to make more by signing up. I have to confess though, it was something else that got me over the line to sign up here. It was you talking about the email your mum sent about saying kids instead of children." Hilarious. Billy the Child, I think the joke, I can't even really remember this, but I think the joke was, and it's true, my mum emailed me and she said, "Oliver, why do you keep saying the word kid? I didn't bring you up like that." It was kind of a bit of an admonishing email from my mum there. And then I sort of made a joke that said, in our household, we, I can't even remember who I made this joke to, but I said that we weren't allowed to say, for example, in Casablanca, "Here's looking at you, kid." We had to say, "Here's looking at you, child." And, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Child. I was just joking around, but CJ Wright seemed to like it and says, "You can't buy humor like that, or can you?" By the way, I agree with your mum. Calling children kids, it's an age thing, I guess. Keep up the great work. Looking forward to the secret collaboration with the lovely Lena and the Operation Down Under Zoom call. All the best from the Sundance Child. Well, thanks very much, CJ. That is a great email to receive. And thank you so much for your support. All you other guys who are feeling a bit like CJ and needing something to get over the line, well, I don't know, maybe follow in CJ's footsteps. But you bring up some great points there, CJ, that I want to touch on. The secret collaboration with lovely Lena. I don't know how much I've said about this on the podcast, but it is so close to being finished. Within a week, you guys will all know what it's about. I know a lot of you do already, but as a little teaser, we've merged our talents based on perhaps the most popular podcast episode I've ever done to make something. I'm very excited to share that with you. And CJ also mentioned the Operation Down Under Zoom call, and that was something I touched on in my weekly newsletter. I said it's been a bit weird that I've done all these events in the US, so many, like 30, 40 events in various cities of the US, and none. I haven't been invited to talk about the book in any of the Australian cities, so I figured, well, I don't care, I'll just do my own thing. So I'm doing a Zoom Friday night, Sydney time, 8 p.m. this week. I'm going to do something with my little brother on Zoom, only for Australians. If you're not Australian, please don't sign up. There's only 100 spaces, and I want to grow this show back in my home country a little bit. And at the time of speaking, there are 35 of the places are taken. So if you want it, I'll be publishing it more on social media. But keep your eyes out and get in there quick. Operation Down Under, to talk about Paris and my book and all that kind of stuff. Thank you to the Sundance Child for bringing that up. The other email that I want to talk about here came in from Kim Loftus during the week, and she said, the title of the email, "A year ago, a great walk about the PA wall." If you're a regular listener, you probably already know what we're talking about here, but Kim says, "Bonjour, Oliver." Bonjour, Kim. I thought of you often today because it was 1 year ago that we walked the streets of Paris with you to see the remnants of the Philippe Auguste wall on the right bank. What a delight when we found that secret courtyard and the back entrance to the wall. It was such a glorious day, and I'm forever in your debt for recommending that I go to the basement of the Louvre to see the wall there as well. I'm glad that you went there, Kim. And just to pause on the email to explain what she's talking about there. Philippe Auguste, 1190, built this big old wall around Paris. It was swallowed up by the city over the next 800 years, but I know where to find all the good bits. And on this very day, we were in one of the gardens where you can see a part of the wall. And as we're walking past it, I said, I bet behind this door you could see the back of one of those towers. And lo and behold, it opened up and we snuck in and we found this amazing, a whole tower really. And she sent a picture, which I'll share with you guys as well. So I might even share the address. But anyway, Kim goes on, thanks to you and the podcast, I continue to learn about Paris and virtually be there until I can be back in person. Now, I'm back to driving to work a couple days a week and your podcast keeps me company. I think I listen to every podcast, your audiobook, and almost all the live YouTube programs. So I listen again to my favorites. Every time I'm transported to the street where you are. Probably not ideal for driving, however, you're so good at storytelling that I can't help but envision it all because of what you described or the sounds of the program. Oh, I bet you felt like you were in Farfelu today there, Kim. Keep up the wonderful work you're doing. Stay safe, healthy. Give my best to Lena, your very talented partner. Can't wait for the beep, 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 beep. I have to beep that out because she says the upcoming project. Best wishes from one of your greatest fans, Kim Loftus, with a picture of me standing looking very pleased with myself after finding that tower. 800-year-old tower nestled in a Paris courtyard. Thank you for that email, Kim, and for your long-time support. Do I do walking tours of Paris? Well, very seldom. I used to sometimes. Get in touch if you want one, but probably best to stick with a real tour guide so I can keep making podcast episodes, because that's what I like doing the most. But look, thanks for those emails coming in this week. There were a lot more than that, but those were my two favorites. Yeah. Thanks for listening too. As I said, if you enjoy the show, consider signing up as a Patreon supporter. On a personal note, I've signed up to a bunch of people using Patreon here in Paris as well, and it does actually give you a good feeling to know that you're helping a creator to do their thing. So why not? If you don't want to do it for me, or if you've already done it for me, go and find someone else who's starting out and support them, because it really makes all the difference. You can help someone realize their dream. Maybe I'll see you on the other side. Maybe I'll see you in Paris one day. I don't know, but I'm glad you've listened to this whole episode of the Eiffel Tower, and I'll be back again next week for more of the same. Merci beaucoup. Au revoir.